Are the Mavericks going back to a single ball handler system? And jokes aside, from a serious perspective, I also want to talk about what this could mean down the line for the rest of the roster and how's it going to start and how the rotation is going to work and everything like that. But one of the things you can say about Jalen Brunson, and as we've discussed over the last couple of weeks, apparently people have wildly different opinions about Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
But he was, without question, your secondary ball handler. And I think, can we start with this conceit? Did we all feel comfortable with Jalen Brunson as your secondary ball handler?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I know in a weird way, because he's not a backup point guard, but one of the best backup, if not the best backup point guard in the NBA last year.
Yes, absolutely. And so we'll start with that conceit. All right. So now that he's gone, where do those responsibilities lie? Because one of the things I want to start with, if we can, Mike, is a lot of people have said or insinuated that Spencer Dinwiddie takes over the role. And I know even people on this station think that's how it's going to happen. How do you envision that playing out? Because I know he can handle the ball, but is that what you want to happen? I
would say if that's the plan for the Mavericks, that's pathetic.
Wow. Okay.
He is a shooting guard with some point guard skills. And I'm not saying that he's a great shooter, because he can get to the basket. You know, at times he has trouble finishing around the basket. At times he's a good finisher around the basket. So he's just not a consistent finisher around the basket. He is good off the ball guard that can dribble and at times create for others. If you're asking him to create for others, you're in deep doo-doo. And here's the other thing too. Jason Kidd, this is part of Jalen Brunson's growth in his fourth year in the NBA. Last year going into training camp, how many times did we play the cut of Jason Kidd going, hey, Luka needs to kind of work with moving the ball around, not feeling like he has to do it all himself. And there was kind of this trust of Jason Kidd telling Luka, trust me, move the ball more, trust your guys to make plays themselves or make plays for you. And really that trust was, because we didn't have Dinwiddie to start the year. The trust was, I think, trust Jalen Brunson a little bit more. We're going to still bring him off the bench. Remember, it wasn't like you're starting. It was Tim Hardaway Jr. We just gave him a S-load of money. Trust him, which is a horrible trust, right? I get why Luka's like, no, every time I pass it, he shoots the ball literally 99% of the time. If he touches it, it's going up in the air for a basket. And not saying he's going to make it, but he is jacking it up. And so it was kind of but I got this other guy who I think if you trust him a little bit more, you won't have to do everything. And Jalen Brunson thrived in that Jason Kidd said, give this guy more of a chance to kind of trust to handle the ball and make decisions. And it worked. And the Mavericks became a better team because of it. How in the world are you going to relay that message to Luka? We even want more of you off the ball, and not in a negative way, just that we can't ask you to be on the court for 40 minutes and handle the ball all 40 minutes you're on the court. Nobody can physically do that. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, whoever you want is the greatest players in basketball history, Steph Curry, whoever it is, Chris Paul. You can't ask people to do that and ultimately win a championship. There has to be Scottie Pippins, Draymond Greens, whoever it is, to help out that situation, because you can't ask somebody to do it all on their own. But yet the Mavericks in this segment we're talking about, Kevin, are setting up a team where we can't ask anybody but you to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's my concern about how it trickles through the rotation, all right? So I wanted to run through a couple of ideas with you. All right, so ideally, the starting lineup would be Luka, Hardaway, Finney-Smith, Christian Wood, and JaVale McGee. Do you think that is true?
I think that's what the starting lineup will be to start the year, but I could see as this progresses, if you look at what JaVale McGee's minutes have been as a championship backup, is that he should be a backup more than a starter, but maybe there was a convincing of sign here instead of Milwaukee because you start here. You're a backup in Milwaukee, and maybe after 10 or 12 games, you go, hey, it's best for you to come off the bench for this team.
And that's what we had heard from the beat reporters last week. All right, in that instance, what do you think is more likely? Luka, Hardaway, Finney-Smith, Kleba, McGee, with it being kind of like the Dwight Powell role where, you play 7 to 10, whatever the case might be? Or do you think it's more likely that you would see Luka, Hardaway, Finney-Smith, Kleba, Wood as your starter?
I guess I wouldn't. Kleba can't. He's too injury prone, and you have to really watch his minutes.
All right, so you think he's always a bench guy?
I think that my opinion on the starting lineup would be Luka, Hardaway, right now, as it is, as we're sitting here, Finney-Smith, Bullock, and Christian Wood.
Okay, so you go Bullock at the 4 and then Christian Wood. Okay, gotcha. All right.
But that would be me. But I think that they're going to start Wood and McGee to start the year because of a promise they made in free agency.
And if we think, look, we'll determine a lot about Jaden Hardy as it goes along. But assuming he's we'll just say a year away from meaningful contributions, that would lead Dinwiddie to be leading your second unit. And I know it doesn't work exactly like hockey where they're like, all right, everybody go shift out. Here comes the entire second team. I know it doesn't always work like that, but ideally that would leave Spencer Dinwiddie to run your second team, which is one of the reasons we were at least kind of hoping for Goran Dragic. Not that he changes the big picture, but that's somebody that you think could run the point for 15 minutes.
Who's this?
If we would have gotten Dragic.
Yeah, because I was thinking right here with Dinwiddie, and I'm in my head going, all right, Dinwiddie was successful with the Mavericks, but how many times was Dinwiddie on the court successful without Jalen Brunson and without Luka on the court? Because what we might be asking Dinwiddie to do now, which I think is just too much and not his role, is, hey, the 12 to 15 minutes that Luka sits out of a game to get his rest, we need you running the whole show with no other ball handler on the court. That's stupid. I can't put it any more bluntly than it's pathetic, it's stupid, it's dumb if they do that. They can't be done with this team. You cannot go into the season with 14 players and 1 point guard. That's the dumbest idea that you could have.
But you don't think they're done, right? I hear what you're saying.
Because they can't be that stupid. Mark Cuban and Nico and Michael Finley and Jason Kidd can't be that stupid to put together this team and to say, look, I like parts of this team. I think Christian Wood needs to become your second best player. If this team's going to be successful as it sits now, as of today, as of the 14 guys we have on our team, Christian Wood has to become, without a doubt, our 20 and 10 guy that we're like, that's our second best player. But they can't be that dumb to go, we're going to have Luka and Dinwiddie and nobody, and we're going to have a 20-year-old Jaden Hardy who, let's face it, I only watched 2 games, but 2 complete games. Scoot Henderson was the point guard on that team.
Yeah.
And it's not even close on who's a better point guard. And when Jaden Hardy was playing off of him, that's where success happened. When they gave Hardy the ball and they said, be the point guard. And it doesn't mean he can't develop. He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
But right now, he's an off guard. He is not an on-the-ball guard. So to me, if you want to do something really stupid and then put yourself in because what if, I hope this doesn't happen, what if Luka rolls his ankle and he's out for 2 to 3 weeks? We're going to go with Spencer Dinwiddie and nobody else who can handle a basketball.
All right, so there's a bunch of different options, some of which you will hate more than the rest.
Can I show you my computer right here, which makes me feel a lot better about the Mavs offseason?
Okay, let's hear it.
According to Hoops Hype right here, and they get this from information from either Shams or Stein or whatever, Mavs and Sixers not interested in Kyrie Irving.
Okay, because...
Which I am not either.
Yeah, no, I understood. We talked about it for...
So as much as I want another point guard, unless we're trading Bertans and Hardaway Jr. and Josh Green, which I don't think they would be interested in at all. Yeah. I will take Kyrie in that trade situation.
So this actually segues into something else. Now, don't overreact to this, Mike. From the 940, Josh Green will fill Brunson's spot. Now, a Mavs source said yesterday that Josh Green won't be playing in Summer League because they said, quote, organizationally felt it was best to get him working out right away and spend time on his game and his body after essentially his rookie year. And they're trying to improve him in a number of areas. I would not rule out the idea that that might even mean like third team point guard-ish.
I will say this. He does show at times some distributing skills.
Sure.
He loves running and passing. and he is at times not a controlled passer.
Okay.
As in he's out of control when he's distributing the ball. And the more you let him do that, either one, he's going to turn over the ball like a madman trying to run and pass at the same time all the time. Or two, he starts developing better skills because he's realizing, hey, you know what's really stupid in the NBA? To keep running and passing at the same time. You hear this a lot of times from coaches. Be a on the ground passer, be a 2-foot passer, be under control, passing the ball with both feet on the ground and both hands on the ball. You're going to create less turnovers and create better decisions. Yes, there are times where you run and pass at the same time or make one-handed passes, but Josh Green is not developed at all to see the court well enough to be running and jumping and passing at the same time.
There's a couple of other names submitted that we might talk about later in the show, but I want to point this out. I saw a couple of people saying this. I don't think anybody is forgetting about Frank Ntilikina. Like, there is nothing that you have seen that has even led you to believe that they want him for defense, and I get that. And maybe this can be eventually the case, but just right now, 20 minutes of him running the point, 15 minutes of him running the point, I just don't think you've seen that for several years to give you confidence in that. At least not me.
I'm worried about it after 5 years in the NBA. I get he's younger and he can keep developing, but that's a lot. That would be like asking Gary Payton II, like you sign him to a contract. Forgive me. Who did he sign with again? Was it Sacramento, Portland?
Crap,
was
I
it?
forgot.
I'm sorry, I forget.
Yeah, it might have been 2 for 19. Let me check.
Yeah, but it would be like, we've signed Gary Payton II to be our backup point guard. You're like, no. He can pass the ball.
Yeah.
But you are not signing him to be a guy that's a distributor of the basketball. You're asking him to play defense. He looks like he can be a pretty good catch and shoot guy for you. And every once in a while, do something like that.
Portland. There we
Portland, yeah. I knew it was a West Coast team, but I know we got to go. It's worrisome to me where we sit today with the Dallas Mavericks that they're going to have 14 players on their roster and only one guy that I think can handle the ball and distribute.